to see ya.
Oh my gosh. Hey guys.
How are you doing?
I feel like I'm in a daze right now.
Oh no. You need some
What's going on?
sunlight.
I just woke up from a nap
Oh,
and
he's in that drugged stage, huh?
no drugs, just all natural.
Sleep stupor.
What's up, gang?
How's Nano going for everybody?
Freaking horribly.
I hate Nano.
It's just
Why
not
did
our
we
year
do Nano?
to make us do something this month.
Yeah.
Should we compare notes and see what our word counts are? Because I can't see what your word count is.
Oh shoot!
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go look.
I have to go look too. I don't know. I know it's less than 10,000.
Mine is more than 10,000. I have a decent amount of words. I just don't like them.
Oh, but that's okay. You don't have to like them. Okay, so
that's fair. But I have to like the book when it's done. So
that is true. That is true because you're revising. So I guess that's
no. I'm not revising. I am writing the motorcycle romance right now.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, which is part of my annoyance is I don't really have time to write the motorcycle romance, but that's what I committed to. So I'm like, I'll just do it. It'll be fine. And then I'll be done. I'll write it in a week and it'll be done. It'll be great. It's not happening. It's like, it's not what my brain wants to do. And so I cannot write it. Like I physically can't make the words come out of my fingers.
Then you need to do something else.
I did. I've been doing other things.
All right.
So I just gave up on it though. That's all. Oh, I'm not going to that page. I'm going to actual Nano pages.
Do you know what your word count is, Kahle?
Probably like 1,300 words.
He's like, I'm not gonna look.
I've spent about a whole hour working on it this week. So
awesome.
Nice.
Hey, but that's an hour
That's an hour.
And it was at like 12:45 this morning until 1:30.
Yeah.
So
Why were you up at 12:45? Is that why you were taking a nap today?
because I chugged a freaking Mountain Dew at like 9 o'clock.
I
picked
actually
it up
did.
and I went, I know I don't need this. I don't need this. I don't need this. And then I was like, why?
I bought myself a couple of monsters so I can stay up later this week.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh, fun.
It's only vaguely working, to be honest. Let's see. So it doesn't even work. Like if you go click on their stuff, you can't see.
I've never been able to. I turned it all off. I haven't been able to see, which is sad because it used to be. It was part of your, you know.
Well, and Kahle, have you not been updating on Nano? Because I know you've written some words.
I have not been updating on Nano. I've just been keeping to myself like I do.
Yeah. Now, I can see your word counts if I go to your pages.
Okay, so let me see if I can go to your page. I guess.
And then you can go look at like the individual projects too, because like Charity has like 405,000 words written.
I know, it's like crazy.
Really?
Right?
I've got
7,000 but it's
words.
all your projects.
Oh, okay. I was like,
the ones at the top. So I've got 18,900 written.
Ooh, you go.
That's fairly
Holy
accurate.
smokies.
Well, I need 50, and I'm still, I haven't even hit 20.
But you're close.
I was like, no, I'm not.
You're close to 20.
20, I'm close to 20, but 50 is really far away from 20.
Well, we're only halfway through the month.
That's true. But basically what I've decided is like, I spent an entire day where I'm supposed to be writing. I'm like sitting here. I'm just like, I'm supposed to be getting 10,000 words a day. This thing is supposed to be done in a week. And I pretty much spent the entire day hiding from my story. So it was not a super effective day, but I did learn some things. I decided I can't write this story right now.
Yeah.
I have other things that are more important. And this was one that I wanted to do, but I was supposed to get my other things done before it. I didn't. We all know I didn't meet my goals coming up to this, but I had a whole bunch of other life stuff happening, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm going to get better at making goals. Eventually, I'm going to get better at figuring out what I can do and what my goals need to be. That's maybe part of my process right now. But I stepped back and I finished up some work that I was doing on a website for Tamara, my other writing friend. And I've gotten a big chunk of that out of the way. And the rest of it is kind of like, there's still a few things that need to be done, but they're simpler, you know, it's things that can be done here and there.
Yeah.
Less stress. We like less stress. And then now I've got my cozy mystery out, and I'm like, I really have to plot this and figure this out and get this one done. And I'm working through that today. And that's been a really good process. But I've kind of figured, you know, I'm like, if I don't finish this week, the motorcycle romance, it's okay. I will finish it this month. I still plan to use it for Nano. I don't have to finish it this week for it to be a Nano story.
Right.
I have a month.
Yeah.
Less than half a month. I have half a month. It's the 14th, guys.
How about you, Kahle?
I know. Did I just want to stranglehold on you or what?
No.
So maybe it's a good time to reevaluate our goals. I mean, that's what Hillary's doing, is reevaluating what's important for her to work on now. So Kahle, maybe you need to figure out what feels realistic that you will be satisfied with by the end of the month. Because that's the only goal, is to come out of this month feeling like you accomplished what you wanted to accomplish.
Oh,
yeah,
man. I
agree.
It's going to be like finishing a chapter, honestly, will be enough for me this month. Because every time that I try to write, I realize how unbelievably unprepared and for all the hundreds of hours of writing podcasts I've listened to.
Oh, he's sitting heavy in imposter syndrome. He's like wallowing in it right now.
He's drowning.
Don't drown. This is my hand reaching out to you. I will pull you out of imposter syndrome.
Oh,
you have got this, Kahle.
Bro, I am so bad at writing. It is so painful.
But that's the thing. The first draft doesn't have to be good. It
know.
really doesn't. And my first drafts are not good.
I've gotten to that realization, but I haven't gotten to that actualization.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. It does.
I realize that
totally
it's not going to be great, but then I'm like typing and I'm like, this still sucks.
I think
I'm still upset that it sucks. I
think I'm
like
barely like just one step ahead of you, Kahle, on that process, because I totally feel you on that. I like Charity and Tamara and some of our other writing friends and the other writing podcast people we listen to and this kind of stuff. They all have like sailed through this. They probably
didn't
have
sail
this
through
experience. Okay,
we sludged.
You're like far beyond it at this point. And the drafts that they write are pretty clean. And they write a draft and they fix it up and then they're ready to go. And for me, I'm like, I write a draft and I come back and I look at it later and I'm like, what the heck was I saying? And I like muddle through it again. It's like, okay, draft 2. Yes, it's a story. And then I put it out and try to have someone look at it and they're like, this is not a story yet. I don't know what you were thinking, but it's not. So I'm like, okay. We'll try it again. So I'm still at a point where I'm like dragging the story out of me and trying to beat it with a pencil. I think I've said that before. Like seriously, it's not pretty. And I think that's okay though, because at the stage that we're at, we really are still figuring out what the story is. I mean, we have a story to tell. Just because it's not coming out the way we want it to look, all finished, polished, and pretty, is okay. We're figuring it out, and it will get there. The story will likely change, too, as you write it. Like, even though you think it's pretty clear in your head, and you've done all this prep work and all these things, maybe you know where you're going, but the way they get there's likely going to change.
Well, all the blocking points that I've made, I realized that I really only need the last 3 to make this a story. And so
nice.
I'm like, Great.
So now what?
So now all that other planning and blocking is like backstory that the reader doesn't need to know.
Well, that's a good thing, though. You had to do it.
Yeah.
Well, and then you take those last 3 blocking points, which maybe you may have to still fill in some of the beginning part too, or maybe the blocking is enough on it. But you take those last 3 points and you say, okay, what else can I do to these people to make this story longer than 3 blocking points?
Yeah, and how can I put more people into it to make it a real immersive world? It can't just be the main characters. There needs to be a ton of other people, and like people that are mentioned that you never even meet, because this is a world.
Yeah. Well, and in your type of story, that does happen a lot because you write fantasy, right? Fantasy, yeah. That does happen a lot.
For about 2 weeks.
But you do, and that does happen. So I mean, that's cool. But start with the main character story, and then you'll find someone along the way like, oh, he needs to learn this from someone. I'll plug someone in here. You don't have to worry about having the story completely solid in your head before you start writing. Just start writing, and then the story becomes solid.
One of the I remembered you guys mentioning it, and then I remember hearing it a few other times, and then I read it last night on somebody's post about Nano, and they were like, hey, when you get to a point and some action needs to happen, but you don't know what it is, put in brackets, the protagonist does a really cool thing, and then keep writing the story.
Yes.
And, like, come back to it. I was like,
just make sure you read over that and get them all out before you publish.
I can do that. Yeah.
It's making me laugh really bad, actually. I don't know if I'm not sure if we can put this part in the podcast. This is Tamara and I are working on stuff right now in our retreat, and she keeps coming across these scenes that she's written, and she'll have written like 300 words, and then it says insert scene here, and she's like, I thought I wrote this book. Like every chapter is like, need a scene here. We're just like dying over it. She'll be like, I finished that one. Okay, we're moving on to the next one. It's gonna be better. And she opens the next thing, and it's like, insert scene here. but she did enough writing that she like basically went through her whole first 4 books, and now she knows where it's going. So as she gets back to the beginning and is doing it again, she actually can insert the scene. She knows what has to happen. So it's cool.
That's the best way to do it.
It's just a lot of work.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, really.
Holy crap.
It's just funny. She said something that was just like, I thought I wrote this story. And she's like, I'm finding out that I didn't. I don't think I've done any of it. It just gave me a lot of comfort.
Charity,
don't worry, Tamara. I will ask your permission before we include that.
I am sitting just a little over 7,000 words. And I've changed my goal again. So the book that is listed that I'm working on, I'm no longer working on.
Right
so should we update our stories? Because I'm in the same spot.
I don't know. I was wondering about that today because
the story I'm going to be writing isn't actually 50,000 words. So it's never going to get there.
Right, exactly.
It's only 15.
Yeah. And see, that's kind of what I'm doing right now too, because I think I have Rebel Prince, and I'm not going to start drafting that until next August. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Oh, Kahle.
New plan.
So Kahle, this is what I did yesterday. Or 2 days ago, and
you made a rainbow.
I made a rainbow. I graphed out what month of the year I was going to start drafting a certain book, what I would be revising, what would be with beta readers, what would be on second revisions, what would be going to edit. And it made me feel so much better, because I think sometimes for me, not knowing what the clear goal is, I feel like, well, I have all the time in the world. There's no reason to make myself sit down and do this, because I can do it anytime I want. And and obviously this year, 2020, I didn't.
I had all the time we wanted, and couldn't do anything with it.
I only wrote what I had to because it was on deadline. So I basically sat down and made a schedule, all of my goals. And I started with the 5 half-finished books. That's what I'll work on first. And in
I'm
2
excited
years,
too.
I can
They're her
release
romance
11
ones.
books. Yeah, well, the 4 of those are science fiction. Only one of the half finished is romance.
And the blue eyes of the handsome gentleman running across the waters.
Yeah. But I mean,
if that's what you're into,
it's Jesus. He's running across the water.
whoa, where did we just go?
My romance just, it veered. It's Christian romance right now.
Christian romance.
Oh my
I'm sorry.
They're putting on a play. They're putting on a play.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, but it was good because sitting down and looking at what was actually possible over the next year, it really energized me. And so that day, I actually sat down and got 2,000 words, which is almost, a third of what I've done all month. And
right.
But just having that clear goal of this is what I can do if I sit down and actually do it. Because we talk about that all the time. Just sit down and do it. It's not going to happen until you sit down and do it. But it's still like this. It's like a credit card. It's not real money.
They're not real words.
They're not real words. It's not a real goal. I mean, I can do it whenever I want. But I guess it's getting more specific with what I want to accomplish, and then putting it down in a color-coded chart so that I could see it because I'm visual. I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, seriously, if I follow this, that's 11 books in 2 years. That will double the number of books I've written. It may not actually happen, but if looking at this will help me move forward. I mean, even if I got half of those, that's more than I normally do.
Yeah.
So I'm excited again.
That's awesome. That's really awesome.
Yeah.
And Kahle, on your side, I was
plan.
actually thinking about it this morning. I'm like, man, I hope we don't burn Kahle out because we're pushing you real hard right now. And I don't think that needs to be the goal. I mean, I think it's going to be important that you're like you said, you're like, I've been a fantasy writer for 2 weeks now.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, okay, that's awesome. What has this nano done for you? It's got you to write the words. You've been thinking about this story forever and you are starting to write it. So maybe you don't actually plan to reach the 50,000 this month. That's okay. Maybe it is just that chapter that you get done and you can say, hey, I have a beginning of a story. Like, this is a real thing and it's on paper and these are my words. I mean, that's kind of powerful.
Yeah.
So I think any of those goals that we can set and get clear in our minds is going to be important. And that's like with my stuff where I'm like, I can't do what I was planning on doing. I think I was honestly hiding from my story. It was like, I don't like what I'm writing. I started writing it and it like started to go like this. And I'm like, no. That is not the story I'm writing. So I had to like cut it all off and be like, okay, we're trying that again. And I just couldn't. And so, yeah, I had to step back and be like, okay, I think right now there's just more important things for me to be working on. And I'm still going to try. I'll try and hit my 50,000 with that this month. If I can do a couple thousand a day, that shouldn't be too terrible. And I can work on my other things. I don't know when after this week that I will work on my other things then instead. So I just have to have more than an hour a day.
Yeah,
Not
but
a good
even
sign,
an hour a
but
day
it's
is
that.
better than nothing.
No, it's true. I'm just trying to make time for it in November. We have Thanksgiving next weekend. So happy. Well, and then the real next Thanksgiving after that. So
Yeah.
So are you going to do it twice?
yeah, well,
Twice.
I mean, Thanksgiving, you can't not have turkey and pie on Thanksgiving. I mean, that's just what you do. So we're
Indian
celebrating
food
with
for
family.
Like the last 7 years.
Oh, wow.
What?
We've had Indian food for like the last 7 years on Thanksgiving. It's weird.
That actually sounds really
weird.
good too. But you celebrate
Anyway,
in
sorry.
some way. Thanksgiving comes and you're like, food. Let's have the good food day. But
Oh, yeah.
we're celebrating the weekend before with our family. So yeah, it will likely happen twice. I don't know that it will be as big a deal, but something.
Yeah. That'll be cool. Yeah. We haven't quite decided yet either if we're going to do it the second time, because we're doing it early as well, Kel. Family comes in and just wrecks all your plans.
Boy, oh boy.
Well, that's okay, but isn't that what we're supposed to be figuring out? Sorry, my eyelashes like just stuck together. Nobody cares.
Listeners. Sorry, listeners.
This is not live. Charity has the magic delete button.
Yes. We just move it to the end in the bloopers.
Yeah, that's what she does. She doesn't actually get rid of any of our mistakes. She just puts them at the end for people to enjoy.
Hey, we're all about transparency.
Yeah, so that's what we're supposed to be trying to figure out anyway. It's just the whole family thing. I mean, we have to know that family is part of our lives and it is part of our plan. And we can't plan to be only writers. That's not realistic. We are human beings with people that we care about and other things that we have to do.
Jobs.
So that's where I was like, I think I'm still learning what my reasonable goals need to be. And that's okay. I'll shoot high as often as I can, because if I don't shoot high, then I don't ever figure out what I can do. So
yeah.
Right.
Amen.
Well, Kahle, what do you want to talk about? You've been so quiet.
I love that you just amen. I'm like, we've had Jesus and amens, and this is like a glory podcast.
It's the middle of November. NaNoWriMo.
Man.
Yeah,
save us all.
I feel it.
Get that Great Awakening going. Come on, people.
That's right. This is the Great Awakening.
Shout hallelujah. Man, I made a realization about my character Bruce, and that basically he was super flat and had zero development through the entire arc, and so I made him a jerk. And now,
that's fantastic.
Now he's a total jerk, and he can do fun things. So
that's awesome. I tend to just kill people when I'm having a hard time with them. I think I liked your plan.
Well, he's the main character. I didn't want to just off him. No, but
makes for a very short story.
I thought about okay, so I've got this guy. The situation that I'm writing right now is. Do you care? Do you want to hear this? Okay.
Yes, especially if it helps you.
We're doing something, so I totally just looked off screen. I'm like,
no, that wasn't what I was responding to. It's just I talked.
Okay. Was someone sighing or yawning?
No, nobody was. Nobody was. It was me hovering
being
above
insecure.
Myself, looking
it
at
was
myself,
your imposter
and going,
syndrome. Nobody cares. We do.
Thank you.
Sorry, I talk for people a lot. Shut me up if I ever need to.
No, it's good. It's good because you just have this way of calling out exactly the insecurity that I'm feeling and going, it's that one, Kahle. And then I'm like, yeah. It's a good thing. It's a good thing.
That's hilarious.
So, okay.
Falling off the bed.
The scene that I'm writing is literally the chapter 1 scene still. My prologue is done and good, actually. I like it. But my chapter 1 scene is Bruce as a 12-year-old, and the king's son is 8, and the king has taken both of them into a cave to witness this magical binding event that the king is about to go through. And
what's he being bound to?
The spirit of a great polar bear, like a big giant bear.
Cool.
So that's happening, and I just realized, man, if Bruce is going to be living for such a long time, he's a half elf. He's not immortal, but he's going to live for a lot longer than any of these humans, and the king wants him to know how this works, because his only son is 8 years old and cannot possibly remember exactly how to go through this ritual thing. The secret of the story is that Bruce is his illegitimate son, so Bruce needs to know how to do it, potentially.
Nice. He's the backup.
So, yeah. But Bruce doesn't know that. And
wow.
he's just gonna spend okay, the other deal is that elves form a mental bond with another being, like another person. And when it's an elf and an elf, they go on and live forever. You know, as long as elves live a really long time. I love
your brain. This is so cool.
But if an elf bonds with a human, what happens is
I want to know.
When the other person dies, when the human dies, they go through like an almost amnesic type, like they forget a lot of details and memories about things unless they're meditating and like really concentrating and searching through their past.
Oh my gosh.
But so that's why elves will like rotate lives, and they'll be like living in a community, and then their companion will die, or they'll die in a battle, and they'll go through this crazy amnesic thing and like retain like basic functions.
Like a rebirth.
Yeah, but they'll go off and just do something completely different, because either the pain of being there, or the memories, or the fact that they can't remember things and who people are.
Well, it's almost like they it never really goes away. And so yeah, the pain of that, I think, is what makes sense to my brain as you're talking. So, and they just are trying to escape that, and they really good at repressing. Sounds like really good.
Yeah, well, it's like baked into the spiritual nature of the bond that they form.
Wow.
And so Bruce is basically forced to bond with the heirs of this kingdom for generations, and then not allowed to leave. He's like the bodyguard for this royal family, and who knows all this information. And he's just pissed.
Wow. Like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, exactly. We're jumping from that to forward, when he's like pretty much just like, it's happened so many times, he's just like resigned to this life that he's going to have to live, because what starts changing is that little things that happen to elves, he learns that he can do too.
So does he not know that
that's the direction? I think he will realize it. I don't know if he knows it at the point that I'm writing for the first chapter, but he will go through realizing it before. Yeah.
What about his mother?
Okay, I can tell you that.
I'm sorry if I'm leading this off on a tangent too, but I'm really enjoying this. So if any of this doesn't need to like be applicably later, I'm loving it.
Oh, well, thanks. Thank you for asking. It helps me to talk about it more.
Right.
So the king that I told you about in the first chapter, that's like got his 8-year-old son and brought Bruce in. He was the third in line heir.
Okay.
And there was a series of assassinations. He wound up hooking up with some elf chick. He was like, I'm third in line. I'm never going to be the heir. I can just live my life and be whoever I want to be. And he hooked up with this elf. And then it's like,
but they didn't have a bonding. They just were together.
They may have had I think they probably did, but in the culture of Norin, like, that's really taboo. Like,
Oh,
They
you're
don't
not supposed to do that, huh?
They don't like elves. They are very suspicious people and very superstitious people. And so they had a son together, and then all of a sudden, it's like, oh crap, now I have to be king. And so she says, I will leave, but I'm leaving the boy with you. And
Because she's smart and she knows things. Mm-hmm.
so she goes to leave, and the king doesn't know this, but the guard capture her, and since she can't die unless you kill her, she's actually in the dungeon for like,
oh my gosh,
hundreds of years.
You just blew my mind.
And she thinks that the king put her in the dungeon, and so she's angry and angrier over the centuries, and
the king is her guy, so
Bruce
she's
doesn't
really
even
mad.
know she's alive or who she is because he was an infant. And so
oh, my heart just broke.
See, you've got so much good stuff
Poor
here, Kahle.
Bruce.
Even if you're just writing all the words of what you just talked out loud to us to help keep, get it all down on paper.
Words,
so
I love them.
Forget, and that's great stuff.
It is really good stuff. Yeah, please don't give up on your story. I want to read your story.
I won't give up on it. I won't give up on it, but it's not going to be done in November.
Right?
Oh no.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. You'll get there.
Cool.
Yeah, I want to really bad. So
good. That's
and
exciting.
all of it's to set up a side character to the main book.
Right. It's true though.
I'm like, I like him so much. I like Bruce so much that I'm either gonna have to like make him a bigger part of the story, or like kill him in the main book to make him like so impactful. Like, I don't want to do that, but
the story will tell you what it needs.
Exactly.
Well, and still, so much about him. I mean, this book, even if you don't really plan to do anything with it, you could polish it up at some point and really sell it as a side novel, a companion story. I mean, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. It would be fun. I would like to do that, but yeah.
Cool. And it's good for you to know. Ta-da!
Right now it is
good
exercise. And
yes, it is exercise.
Yeah.
Well, hey guys, we're gonna get kicked off in 7 minutes, and we can either come back, or is there anything else you think we need to add for the
I don't know. For
podcast?
The actual podcast.
Yeah. Thanks for listening to my rant.
I loved it, and honestly, I don't think it'd be bad to have it in there. We don't. That's as long as you're okay with spilling the guts of your story out here already.
That's okay for the 19 people that listen to us right now.
Right?
It's all right.
We had 55 listens in the last 7 days. We doubled what we had last week.
Oh,
So
holy
that's really cool.
smokes.
yeah, every week we get a little bit more. So that's why I'm saying there is a lot of potential here.
Yeah.
I think so too. What I'm saying. I mean, people like what we got.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
So
yeah, I think we need to talk more about that formatting stuff that we talked about last week.
yes.
Just because I love this. I have this itching to do like the more like structured thing as like every once in a while.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
I love doing this. And
I was showing
really
Hillary.
motivating.
I downloaded this.
It scares me, to be honest.
Ooh,
It's really easy.
lobster.
Half of it
But
we've
it's
already got
terrifying to me. I'm
answers
like,
to.
why?
It's a checklist of
Is
how to
the
be a
entire
successful.
book in lobster?
You can talk to me about it like this, okay?
And what?
Is
Oh,
the
no.
entire book in lobster?
No.
Okay. Because I was like, did they really?
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. I mean, and most of it's stuff that people do before they start a podcast, but I never did. And most of it we have answers for, but it also has a section on how to market and how to reach our audience. There's a lot of good stuff in here that, I would love to sit down with you guys and let's just brainstorm ideas on, like simple things, just like, I've moved it all around. It's not in order anymore, but like keywords, so that when people are searching for us, because I have 3 keywords. I have 4: writing, authors, storytelling, journaling. What other keywords? You know, it's
Yard
something.
yard maintenance.
Yard maintenance.
Wow, that's helpful.
We want to find the people that are going to actually like what they hear when they listen and not go, what?
I like it.
I mean, you throw some.
Did you have both author
there,
and writer on there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Literature.
just little things
Reader.
like that.
Let's have readers.
Yeah.
Honestly, blogcast would be one to put on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because one of the other questions was what, you know, coming up for topics and other things, one question was, what is your audience interested in? And my question was, how do we even know when no one comments?
We don't. So I think we just keep doing the same type of content we've got until somebody starts saying, hey, this is great, or hey, I wish you'd do that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we really don't know. Yeah. We know what
most of the
our target audience is us.
Yeah, and most of the informational ones we've done in the past were what people told me, friends and stuff. But I do want to talk about it because kind of like Kahle, the whole reason I started was because I did want to give information and kind of give back and help, because all those years that I was blogging, that's how I learned stuff. And we can do a lot of that just us talking, but sometimes I think it does need to be a little bit more focused. So that's something that, you know, on this whole page of decide on your format and when you're going to do what, when, and things, because I really do enjoy doing that. That's part of my teaching background. But we just need to decide how and when and what, and you know what that's going to look like. And I want us to be able to do it all together. So I don't want to be the one that says we're going to do this.
So, I have a question. What the journaling thing kind of needs to be regular for it to be really a thing.
Yeah, and that'll be our main thing.
No, well, this is just a question. The journaling thing I think needs to be regular. So I'd like to do that once a week. What if we do an extra one that's informational, like once a month, do an extra? Yeah. And then if we decide we have an interview that we want to do, we can do that in place of, or we could do every other week, do an informational and then an interview, or pick and choose however we want, because I don't know that we want to try and get them in interviews. That's a lot of commitment.
Yeah, well, I have 2 right now, and I'm doing another one on Tuesday. So we will have 3 interviews ready to just pop in when we can't get
that together. If we want to do one of those a month, that takes us through into the spring. I mean, that's good.
Yeah, they'll probably.
So maybe it wouldn't be as hard as.
Because I don't want to meet the week of Thanksgiving. Don't want to meet the week of Christmas. You know, and there may be another day in Christmas.
Really, like the whole week, you wouldn't have time to meet sometime in that week.
Probably
like
not.
I get that that's busy, but I feel like it's not a big deal to step for an hour and come do this personally. That's just totally personal opinion.
Right, but then there's the editing that she's got to do. And
see, for me, it's a lot more work.
That takes a few more hours.
That's true.
So, and I do, I mean, that's why I have these, well, no, but that's why I have these interviews, was so that we can have that balance during the holidays. And I do like the one that I'm doing on Tuesday. I need to look, see what time that is. I think it's in the evening. He just had a book come out. He's from Rogers. Mark, is his name Mark? I don't know. Anyway, his is
do you want people there for that, or do you want to do it on your own?
If you would like to come, I would love to have you. I would always prefer to have you guys there.
A qué hora?
What does that mean?
I think it's Tuesday. Here, let's go out and then we'll come back, okay?
Okay.